Hello friends, this is Love and you are watching my channel, and in today's discussion we will talk about epilepsy and EEG. So before this discussion on the epilepsy and EEG, I will let you know what is seizure, what is epilepsy, what is convulsion. So many of the students get confused about these three terms, and they take it as a same thing, but they all are actually different things. So let's talk about very basics of the epilepsy. So first of all, you have to know that the normal electrical activity that which occurred in the brain is actually asynchronous. So let's suppose, to understand this, let's suppose that this is a person, and you are watching the brain, and you are watching the neurons. Then these are, let's suppose these are the group of neurons. These are some group of neurons, but each of the group of neuron has their own function, and independently they fire, and independently they have their own work. But and it means what? That this neuron is not dependent upon this neuron, or they are not having any kind of communication that we should fire at the same time or we should stop at the same time. They have no such type of communication. So we can say that the normal electrical activity in the brain is asynchronous, that they are not synchronized. The electrical activity of the brain are not synchronized, they are asynchronous, and everyone do their own special activity. But what happens if the let us suppose some group of neurons have make friends. Let's suppose these group of neurons have become now friends, and these friends thought that we should now fire in a synchronized way. We will fire at the same time, we will stop at the same time. So now what happened, they actually became synchronous. So whenever a group of neuron fires at fire in the synchronized way, then we will call it as a seizure. So when group of neurons fires in a synchronized way, it is known as seizure. So we can say that the seizure is a abnormal electrical activity in the brain due to synchronicity of the group of neurons in brain. Now let us understand the mechanism of seizure development. So there are basically two type of neurons in the brain. One is excitatory neurons. So excitatory neurons basically release a neurotransmitter that is known as glutamate. So there are some there are some neurons which will release the glutamate, and this glutamate is actually excitatory neurotransmitter. So those all neurons which will secrete the excitatory neurotransmitter are known as excitatory neurons, and those neurons which will release the GABA, are known as inhibitory neurons. So there is usually a balance in the brain between the excitatory release and inhibitory release. So if the imbalance occur between the excitatory neuron discharge and inhibitory neuron discharge, and the balance should take place in such a way that the excitatory dominates over the inhibitory, that the imbalance will be in such a way that the excitatory dominates over the inhibitory, that there is a too much excitatory neurotransmitter discharge, or we can say that there is a too little inhibitory discharge is produced, or we can say there is too little inhibition of discharge. So either too much excitation or too little inhibition, this will result in the development of the seizure. So basically I am not talking about the molecular level, I am just talking that if the excitatory and inhibitory imbalance occur, then the seizure will get developed. So you should understand one thing, that whenever in the brain a excitatory neurotransmitter is released, then there will be in the brain there are also some inhibitory neurotransmitter and releasing neuron, and if the imbalance occur between their release, then they will result in seizure. Now let's talk about the causes of seizure. So the causes of seizure, so we were talking about the Actually, when we talked about that how the seizure developed, then we talked about the imbalance between the excitatory and non-excitatory or inhibitory neurons take place, and that will result in seizure. But why is there imbalance? That we have not discussed. So the imbalance between those excitatory and inhibitory neurons can be due to these causes. So let's start the discussion on the causes. So we have a trick, we have a mnemonic known as vitamin. So the mnemonic is very simple, vitamin. So from the V, there is a vascular causes, and the vascular causes, the cause can be a stroke. So in a stroke or in any hemorrhage in the brain, like the rupture of berry aneurysm or the subarachnoid hemorrhage, the hypoxia, ultimately these all things will lead to the hypoxia, and this hypoxia condition will actually lead to the development of the seizure. Or we can say this hypoxia condition will actually lead to the imbalance between the excitatory and non-excitatory in group of neurons, and they will result in seizure. The second important cause is idiopathic. So the cause may be unknown, that why the seizure is happening, or we can say that the cause may be undiagnosed. Another thing, the cause can be due to trauma. So let us suppose some person is having the head injury, and after the head injury he is getting the seizure from a very long time, then that can also happen. Another cause is autoimmune. So the condition like the systemic lupus erythematosus, Weger's granulomatosis, Sjogren's syndrome, Crohn's disease, sarcoidosis. So these all are autoimmune condition, and these all autoimmune condition involve the brain. Not necessarily they will involve the brain, but yes, they will ultimately involve the brain in some person, and if they involve the brain, then they will cause seizure. Another condition is metabolic. So the metabolic condition where the seizure develops, they are, so first important metabolic condition that you all have to know is hyponatremia. So in hyponatremia, the seizure can be developed. It can be developed in the hypocalcemia. It can be developed in the hypoglycemia, that is a decreased glucose level. So decreased glucose. Hyponatremia means decreased sodium levels. Hypocalcemia means decreased calcium level in the blood. It can also due to the like the metabolic acidosis. It can be also due to the hypomagnesemia. That is a decreased magnesium. So this metabolic condition is also very common cause of the seizure. And the another cause is infection. The infection like infectious disease like neurocysticercosis, that if you will eat the pork meat uncooked or not cook in a good way, if you will eat the pork meat, then you may have neurocysticercosis, and due to the neurocysticercosis, the patient may develop the seizure. Or we can say that the seizure can be manifest in some type of meningitis also. Somehow in some patients of meningitis also the seizure can be developed. And the last but not the least cause is neoplasm. So if any person is having any tumor in the brain, then that tumor may cause actually the imbalance in the excitatory and non-excitatory neurons, and will result in the seizure. So I have not discussed every cause in this in this topic, but yes, you can see in this picture that you can see all the others that causes the seizure. Now let us suppose this is a picture of brain, and I have drawn the central sulcus. So this actually sulcus you are seeing, this is actually central sulcus, and this area, this area is actually the motor cortex. So we can say this area is actually the motor cortex. And let's suppose this area is sensory cortex. This area is sensory cortex. And let us suppose that this is the area of social behavior, and this area is occipital lobe. Let's suppose this is a occipital lobe. So you can easily you can easily understand this picture. I have just make a simple figure to make you understand. You should know that the seizure can occur at the any part of the brain. Seizure can occur at the any part of the brain. So let's suppose the seizure is starting from this part. So let's suppose the seizure is starting from this part. So this part, when the seizure starts from this part, then the many clinical manifestation will be just corresponding to that what part of the brain is involved. So if the seizure is involving the area of social behavior, then the person will have the clinical manifestation like the person is becoming unsocial. So normally the person in the society has to follow the rules of society, that he should wear dress, or he should wear school dress in his school, or college dress in college. But once this area has become stimulated, or this area is firing, then what happens? Then the person may become unsocial, and he may become naked and just move here and there. So you can say that the clinical manifestation will be just as that which area of the brain is involved. Now let's suppose in this motor cortex and sensory cortex, let's suppose that this area is of head and this area is of leg. Similarly, here is a leg area and here is a head area. Now if the firing start in this area, in the head area, in the motor cortex, let's suppose the firing start in the motor cortex and especially in the head area, then the person will be clinically manifesting the movement of the head. So if you look that person, he will move his head. So you can see in this picture that the person head is moving. Similarly, if the leg is involved in the sensory cortex, let's suppose the firing starts, or the abnormal discharge or disturbance start at the level of in the sensory cortex in the leg area, then the person will have, let's suppose the sensory cortex is involved and it is involving the leg, then the person will have the paresthesia, or we can say that there will be the some crawling sensation in the, something is crawling in the leg. So somehow a sensory or some pain or heat, touch sensation can be feel in this leg region. So this all is actually a manifestation of seizure. So just the main aim was to tell you that the clinical manifestation will be as the which area of the brain is involved. So I think this much information of the seizure for the introduction is actually enough. Now let's understand then what is epilepsy. So if the seizure is recurrent, it means there is a recurrent seizure, and that should be due to recurrent seizure due to unprovoked stimulus. So what is unprovoked stimulus? Recurrent seizure means that seizure is occurring at many times. And what is unprovoked stimulus? Unprovoked stimulus means that, let's suppose there are some condition where the person can have seizure, let's suppose that you are a normal person, but you are dehydrated. You are dehydrated, and you dehydrated in such a way that the body sodium levels actually falls. Sodium level decreases, and when the sodium level decreases, again you may have the seizure. Again you may have the seizure, but this seizure is actually not due to a chronic condition. This seizure is not due to a chronic condition. This is just a instant seizure that is basically due to the fall in the sodium level. So if the fall in the sodium level occurs, and due to which the seizure, if the seizure occurs, then such a seizure we will call that it is a provoked seizure. In such case we will call that seizure, that this seizure is basically provoked seizure. So to tell any seizure that it is to categorize the seizure as a epilepsy, the seizure should be unprovoked, that it should not be provoked. Let's take another example. Let us suppose that you are taking very low calcium level in your diet, or we can, let's suppose that you have the decreased PTH level or decreased vitamin D3 level. So in this all condition, that will result in the hypocalcemia. And in the hypocalcemia, in the very severe cases, you may have the seizure. But this seizure is not due to any chronic condition. It is basically due to the decrease in calcium level. If you will correct the calcium level, the problem will be elevated. So such type of seizure which is actually provoked are not epilepsy. So to say any seizure to be epilepsy, there should be unprovoked stimulus. That there should be not any cause like the hypocalcemia, like the hyponatremia. So this condition is hyponatremia. Let's take one more example. Let us suppose that you were on a fasting, and now that you became hypoglycemic. And due to this hypoglycemia, you developed seizure. Due to the hypoglycemia, let's suppose you developed seizure. Then this seizure is basically not due to a chronic condition. It is basically due to the hypoglycemia. If you will correct the hypoglycemia, there will be no seizure. So we will call this such type of seizure provoked seizure. So this seizure is basically provoked by what? Hypoglycemia. So that is not epilepsy. Okay. So there are two things to say a seizure to be epilepsy: that the seizure should be recurrent, and what is the frequency of recurrence? So greater than 2 times. If the seizure is occurring more than 2 times and without any stimulus, or we can say that should be due to unprovoked stimulus, that the person is very okay, he has no any kind of hypoglycemia or hyponatremia or hypocalcemia, though the person is having the seizure more than 2-3 times, then we will call this condition as a epilepsy. So I think you know the condition ki what is epilepsy and what is seizure. Now let's suppose a condition. Let's suppose that you are having a head trauma. And due to this head trauma, you developed a scar in the brain. And by the time that you developed a scar, you are having the seizure, and this seizure is now recurrent. Then you will call this condition epilepsy or not? This condition is due to the head trauma. Then you will call this condition epilepsy or not? Then yes, we will call this condition as a epilepsy. Why we will call epilepsy? As this, after the head trauma, the scar has formed, and this scar will be a chronic condition. And due to a chronic, if any chronic condition lies there, and if the recurrency of seizure is due to any chronic condition, then we will call this as a epilepsy. I said you that the seizure may have the motor manifestation, the sensory manifestation, or the seizure may have the autonomic manifestation. autonomic manifestation, or the seizure may have any psychiatry manifestation. Psychiatry manifestation. So the seizure may have a different kind of manifestation, but those seizure which will have only motor manifestation are known as convulsions. So what is convulsions? Those convulsions are basically seizure. So convulsions are seizure with only motor manifestation. Motor manifestation. So I think now you didn't get confused about what is convulsions. So there is the term seizure is actually different from the convulsion. So convulsions are those seizure which have only motor manifestation. Okay, so I think up to now you understood the difference between the seizure, difference between the convulsion, and difference between the epilepsy. So let me again once revise this all. See, seizure was a abnormal electrical activity in the brain due to the reason that the group of neurons in the brain became asynchronous, and the cause was that due to various conditions there was imbalance between the inhibitory and excitatory neurons, and we discussed about the different cause. The cause were vitamin, and we talked that if the seizure is recurrent and if there is no any provoked stimuli, then we will call that condition as a epilepsy. And those seizures that will result in the only motor manifestation, we will call those seizures as a convulsion. But the seizure may have motor manifestation, sensory manifestation, autonomic manifestation, or the psychiatry manifestation. So those all persons who are actually susceptible to seizure, I mean to say that if those all person, if who has any of the cause that from the vitamin, we talked about the causes of seizure, that is the vitamin. So if any of the thing in the vitamin is present in that person is susceptible, and such susceptible person will have the trigger of seizure in some conditions. So there are some factors that will actually precipitate or trigger the seizure. So see those factors. So fever is actually one of the factor that will actually precipitate the seizure in not all person, in those persons who are susceptible to seizure. Okay. Another condition, if there is any music, so the music of the disco. So in the disco, like when the remix music is actually running, in that case, the person may have the seizure. Or there is a disco light. So in disco, when we talked about the light, so if the light is so much bright, or we can say that the light is like on and off in the disco, so such type of light also can trigger the seizure. Another thing, there is a sleep deprivation. So if you have a disturbance in sleep for 1 or 2 days, then the susceptible person may have the seizure. Or if any emotional trauma. So if any emotional trauma like the family problem or the relationship problem, so in that case, the person may have the seizure. Another thing, if any person of the already diagnosed epileptic person was taking the drugs and suddenly he left the drug, suddenly he stopped the drug by himself, though. So in the drug withdrawal, so in the drug withdrawal effect, the seizure can happen. So drugs should not be stopped directly. We should just take the advice of the doctor. Then only we should stop the drug. So drug withdrawal effect can be there, and the person will have direct seizure. Now let's talk on the classification of seizure. So broadly, the seizure can be classified as the focal seizure and the generalized seizure. Focal seizure means if the seizure, let's suppose this is the brain, and if the seizure is occurring in a one lobe or a part of lobe or at a particular area, then we will call it as a focal seizure. But if the seizure or the abnormal electrical activity occur in the whole brain, then we will call it as a generalized seizure. And if you look the electrical encephalogram, that is known as the EEG, in the EEG report, you will find that in every lead the waves will be actually excitatory in the generalized seizure, but in focal seizure, if you will see the you will see the EEG report, then you will see that in only some waves, in only some leads, the waves are actually dearranged, or we can say the excited. So by looking the EEG, we can say that the seizure is actually focal or the generalized. So that is the actually confirmatory test, but we will talk those things in further discussion. At now, you should only just understand that if the seizure is involving a part of a brain or a lobe or part of the lobe, then we will call it as focal. And if it involves whole brain, we will call it a generalized seizure. So in focal seizure, basically there are three type of condition. So focal seizure, there are three type of condition. The first condition is a focal seizure with consciousness. So such a seizure where the seizure take place, focal seizure take place, but the consciousness is present. So we will also call this condition as a simple partial seizure. So focal seizure with consciousness, or we will also call it a simple partial seizure. Another group is focal seizure with impaired consciousness. Impaired consciousness, where the consciousness is impaired. So focal with the impaired consciousness, we will also call it as a complex partial seizure. We will also call it as a complex partial seizure. And another condition where the focal became generalized, So this condition where the focal seizure, so initially the patient will tell you that initially I was just having a symptom in the legs. Let's suppose he was actually having the jerky movement in the leg, and now that has ascending, that has ascend upward. Now it is jerking in his there is a jerky movements in his hand also, and later on he is telling that he is jerking in the whole body, he is having the jerky movement in the whole body. So you can say that the focal has become generalized, and that condition we will call it as a secondary generalization. So that has started from the focal seizure, but now it became generalized. So that is known as secondary generalization. So this is the third category of the focal seizure. So there are basically three types of focal seizures: focal with consciousness, that is known as simple partial seizure; focal with impaired consciousness, that is known as complex partial seizure; and focal becoming generalized, that is secondary generalization, that the disease process started from the focal, but now it has become generalized. Now in generalized seizure, the seizure, it is classified as, first of all, the tonic. So the tonic seizure are those seizure where there is an increased muscle tone in the body. So there is a generalized increase, that is every muscle in the body will have increased tone. So that is known as tonic seizure. Another is a clonic seizure. So clonic seizure means there will be actually movements, or we can say there will be jerky movements in whole body. So that is known as clonic seizure. Another is a condition, there is a combination of tonic and the clonic. So initially the person will have the increased muscle tone, the person will fall, and after some time the person will have the jerky movements. So such type of seizure is known as tonic clonic seizure. So they will call as a simply generalized tonic clonic seizure. So see, so that can be generalized tonic. So seizure in the generalized seizure can be the generalized tonic, that can be generalized clonic, or that can be generalized tonic clonic. So the most common is generalized tonic clonic seizure, that is known as GTCS. And another generalized seizure can be myoclonic. So myoclonic seizure, generalized seizure will be like that. The muscles will have some twitching type of movement in the body. So twitching movement of muscles in the body. And another condition, that is there is a atonic seizure. So in atonic seizure there will decreased muscle tone in the body. So muscle tone will be decreased and the muscles will get relaxed. So such type of seizure can happen. And another generalized seizure is number 6. We have the absence seizure. Absence seizure. We will discuss its seizure. Just I am giving the classification. In absence seizure, it can be categorized as like the typical absence, the atypical absence. So in total, there are this much the generalized seizure, that is a generalized tonic seizure, generalized clonic seizure, generalized tonic-clonic seizure, and most common is generalized tonic-clonic seizure, generalized myoclonic, generalized atonic, absence seizure. The absence seizure can be typical or atypical. So there are some conditions. They are basically known as epilepsy syndrome, where the epilepsy happen with other conditions also. And though we will discuss it in a great detail in further videos. So they are juvenile myoclonic epilepsy, Lennox-Gastaut syndrome, mesial temporal lobe epilepsy syndrome. So up to now, we talked about the focal seizure, generalized seizure, epilepsy syndrome. There are one more seizure which are actually unclassified, or they are separate entity. They are known as epileptic spasm. And in epileptic spasm, the most common form of seizure is known as salam seizure. So this word seems very familiar, salam. So yes, it is actually that salam which in Muslim practice, the Muslim person or in other person also, if they are doing salam like seeing in this picture, so such type of the clinical presentation occurs. We will talk that also. So this is all about the classification of the seizure.